Here are today's top stories. The Chinese manned dredging ship that alarmed residents of Lobo, Batangas has left the town. Inflation rate in March eased further to 3.3%. A brother of a top BIFF terrorist leader dies in a clash with government troops in Maguindanao. And a poet from General Santos City wins the Makata ng Taon Award in honor of Francisco Balagtas.
Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. The Chinese manned dredging ship that alarmed residents of Lobo, Batangas has left the area this morning. MV Emerald left the area after the Philippine Ports Authority canceled its anchorage permit. DENR had previously granted the company 2 ECCs on May 2017 to operate in Lobo on the condition that it would submit all the required permits and clearances from the other concerned agency 60 days before it could begin the project. Lobo Mayor Gaudioso Manalo says MV Emerald does not have permits to operate. The dredging ship was brought to the Batangas port. Department of Foreign Affairs protested the presence of a large number of Chinese vessels swarming Pag-asa Island, which is under Philippine territory. The Philippine government called on concerned parties in the West Philippine Sea to desist from any activity that would raise tensions in the disputed area. In a statement, DFA says, "We call on concerned parties to desist from any action and activity that contravenes in the ASEAN-China Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the South China Sea, as these generate tension, mistrust, and uncertainty and threatens regional peace and stability." The statement came following reports of Chinese vessels swarming near and around Pag-asa Island and in disputed waters. The department also said all Chinese vessels within the Kalayaan Island group will continue to be subject of appropriate action by the Philippines. While negotiations for a code of conduct are ongoing, the government called for the full and effective implementation of the ASEAN-China Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the South China Sea. A female overseas Filipino worker was brought home on Thursday, a year after she was trafficked in Iraq. Philippine Vice Consul to Iraq, Jom Sadi, says the OFW identified as Joyce arrived in Manila Thursday afternoon. Joyce was initially promised a job in Dubai, but found out she was to be brought to Iraq using a Kurdistan work visa. Joyce suffered maltreatment in the hands of her employer. She managed to escape last October and stayed in the embassy in Baghdad for a few months alongside the others. On December 2018, her employer filed a case against her just before she was about to leave the country. Joyce was released this month through the embassy's facilitation. The embassy issued a reminder to Filipinos eyeing jobs in Dubai to be careful of dubious offers. The Camarines Sur Provincial Prosecutor's Office has ordered the filing of charges against the suspects in the killing of Ako Bicol Party List Representative Rodel Batocabe and his police escort Orlando Diaz. Daraga Albay Mayor Carlwin Baldo, who was supposed to be Batocabe's opponent in this year's elections, is facing 2 counts of murder. Also indicted are Christopher Naval, alias Tuping, Emmanuel Roselio, alias Boboy, Jaywin Babor, alias G, Henry Yuson, alias Romel, Yuson, and Rolando Arimando, alias Lando. Batocabe died during an ambush as he was attending an event for senior citizens and persons with disabilities at the Burgos Elementary School in Daraga Albay last December 22nd. Baldo's group is also facing 6 counts of attempted murder after several bystanders were wounded during the shootout between the gunman and authorities. Prosecutors, however, cleared Baldo's driver Ramon Marbella, alias Mamo, who drove the vehicle owned by the mayor's wife and who gave money to the wife of the gunman after the incident. New personnel take over the Drug Enforcement Unit of the Pasay Police, and the Labor Department warns against scams using its livelihood and employment programs. More on these and other news around the metro from Janice Cave.
Over 200 police personnel have been assigned to the Pasay Police Drug Enforcement Unit weeks after it was disbanded. Pasay Police Chief Colonel Bernard Yang says all new personnel underwent background checks and are proven to have clean records. It can be recalled that the whole unit, as well as top Pasay police officials, were relieved from their post after a kidnap for ransom complaint. Meanwhile, the Philippine Army will ask the PNP Anti-Cybercrime Group to help track down the hackers group identified as Pinoy Lushlek. The group is reportedly behind the supposed hacking and leaking of data of the Army's database. Army spokesman Ramon Zagalas says despite not losing important data, they need to hold the group accountable for illegally releasing information from the Army. In other news, the Department of Labor and Employment warned the public against unscrupulous people using its livelihood and emergency employment programs to defraud money from those who are seeking assistance. Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III issued the warning after receiving reports of irregularities in the implementation of the DOLE Integrated Livelihood and Emergency Program or DLIP. He says DOLE does not authorize any individual or group to collect or solicit money to avail of assistance. He urged the public to report any information on the unscrupulous individual or groups to the DOLE office in their area. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Still to come, UDENNA seeks to modernize and expand Davao City International Airport. A brother of a top BIFF terrorist leader dies in a clash with government troops in Maguindanao. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Ito ang Duterte on Duty. Ulat sa ginagawa ng Presidente. March 24, Linggo, Cagayan de Oro City. Dinalaw at pinarangalan ni Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte ang 12 sundalong nasugatan sa hiwalay na engkwentro kontra New People's Army at Abu Sayyaf. March 26, Martes, South Cotabato. Ipinagkaloob ni Pangulong Duterte ang financial grant sa mga benepisyaryo ng DSWD Unconditional Cash Transfer Program sa Coronadal City. March 27, Miyerkules, Davao City. Nag-courtesy call sa Pangulo si Minister Song Tao mula sa International Department of the Central Committee of Communist Party of China. March 29, Biyernes, Cotabato City. Pinangunahan ni Pangulong Duterte ang inaugurasyon ng Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao na inaasahang magdadala ng pangmatagalang kapayapaan at seguridad sa rehiyon.
As we enter the transition period, I ask everyone to work towards building lasting peace and inclusive progress that will benefit all Mindanaoans and the entire country as well. Our victory in this plebiscite is proof of our determination to bring genuine peace and development in Muslim Mindanao to a responsive government that truly reflects the identity of its people.
Ako po si Secretary Martin Andanar at ito ang Duterte on Duty. Abangan sa susunod na linggo ang mga gagawin ng Pangulo.
The Philippine economy continues to show improvement as inflation rate in March dropped further to 3.3%. Consumer price growth in the Philippines continued to ease in March to post its slowest pace in 15 months on the back of softer pickup in food prices. The Philippine Statistics Authority announced that inflation last month dropped to 3.3%. The figure is down from the previous month's 3.8%, the lowest since December 2017's 2.9%, and slower than the 4.3% posted a year ago. PSA says that main drivers in the downtrend of inflation in March 2019 were food and non-alcoholic beverages as well as alcoholic beverages and tobacco. Malacanang welcomed the continued declaration of the inflation rate, adding that this is due to the administration's resolve to cushion the impact of inflation. The palace says it will continue monitoring prices of goods and commodities with the ongoing onslaught of El Nino, which may affect food production. The Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, or CAAP, says the country's airports are ready for the influx of passengers this Holy Week. CAAP says it is expecting an increase in the number of air passengers this season. In April 2018, Philippine airports welcomed 5.5 million domestic and international passengers, with 3 million of them arriving and departing through the Ninoy Aquino International Airport. CAAP says additional security measures will be in place, as well as additional airline personnel. There will also be help desks to accommodate passenger concerns. Manila International Airport Authority General Manager Ed Monreal reminds passengers to follow airport protocols, as these are vital for safe travels. Passengers must be at the airport at least 3 hours before their flight, refrain from bringing liquids, aerosols, and gels over 100 milliliters, inform the airline if you need special assistance such as wheelchairs, and ensure that passports are valid for at least 6 months. Davao-based UDENNA Infrastructure Corporation has sought the endorsement of the City Council to undertake the modernization and expansion of the Davao International Airport. UDENNA represents its unsolicited proposal to develop, operate, and maintain the Davao Airport at 48.8 billion pesos under the public-private partnership. UDENNA Infrastructure Corporation is a subsidiary of the UDENNA group of companies controlled by Davao City business magnate Dennis Uy. The project will include the land-side and air-side developments, reconfiguration and expansion of the passenger terminal building, parallel taxiway, and new airport technologies to enhance passenger experience. UDENNA seeks to increase passenger volume by up to 15 million in 30 years from the current 4 million. Councilor Jesus Zozobrado of the Committee on Public Works and Highways says the City Council will have to review and endorse the project to the Department of Transportation, the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, and the Regional Development Council. Over 500 firearms are confiscated in Central Luzon during the election gun ban. Meanwhile, a brother of a top terrorist leader is killed in Maguindanao. More on these and other stories from the provinces from Benj Bondo.
At least 574 assorted firearms have been confiscated by authorities in Central Luzon since the start of the election gun ban on January 13 this year. Also confiscated are 3,560 deadly weapons, 27 hand grenades, and 3,437 assorted ammunition. Brigadier General Joel Napoleon Coronel of Police Regional Office 3 presented the seized firearms to PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde during a press briefing in Camp Olivas. Coronel says they will continue their intensified campaign against loosed firearms to help curb incidents of crime and election-related violence. In Iligan City, joint PDEA and police operatives arrested a former barangay official in an anti-drug operation in Barangay Upper Hinaplanon. The suspect is identified as Aldaud Cali. Cali is included in the narco list of President Rodrigo Duterte and listed by PDEA 10 as number 7 target listed personality in Lanao del Norte. 3 medium-sized sachets of suspected shabu with an estimated market value of 105,000 pesos are yielded. In Maguindanao, 4 members of the Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters were killed and 11 others were injured in a clash with the Army's 601st Brigade in Barangay Pamalian, Datu Unsay. Among those killed was Ali Abdul Malik, brother of terrorist leader Ismail Abdul Malik, alias Abu Turaifi. The group of Abu Turaifi reportedly reinforced the group of Commander Bongos, who lost 1 member and had 11 others injured. 2 soldiers, meanwhile, were injured. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondo.
The military has pointed to the Dawla Islamiyah faction as the ones responsible for the bombing of a restaurant in Isulan, Sultan Kudarat. The bombing incident left 17 wounded customers, including minors and a pregnant woman. The management of the restaurant says that they have been receiving text messages from an extortion group since March 28, demanding 50,000 pesos in monthly protection money. 6th Infantry Division Commander Major General Cirilito Sobejana says they have traced the extortion messages to the terrorist group. It was allegedly sent by the Dawla Islamiyah Sub-Commander Salahuddin Hassan, member of the Abu Turaifi faction. Hassan is also a leader of the Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters. The military also speculates that the bombing was a retaliatory attack by the group meant to target civilians following the killing of Abu Turaifi's brother Ali Abdul Malik. Up next, DTI encourages local franchises to expand in Southeast Asia. A poet from General Santos City wins the Makata ng Taon Award in honor of Francisco Balagtas. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
We'll set up a few community radio stations under PBS. This is Secretary Martin Andanon, and you're watching the Presidential Communications Operations Office.
Filipino franchises are encouraged to expand to other ASEAN member states, which offer a huge market of more than 600 million consumers. According to DTI, Filipino brands are getting more access to a larger share of the population of ASEAN since the Philippines and other ASEAN member states have almost similar cultures and market profiles. This makes it easier for Filipinos to expand to other ASEAN member states. DTI Trade Service Officer Eric Elnar says Filipino franchises should intensify their marketing strategies and know the industry, market readiness, and market size to effectively penetrate the ASEAN region. And in our foreign news, British lawmakers voted to support a bill that rules out no deal and delays Britain's departure from the European Union. The cross-party bill was approved by MPs by 315 to 310 votes after its second reading. The proposal would compel British Prime Minister Theresa May into seeking a Brexit extension in the absence of a deal that has been approved by the Parliament. Britain has until April 12, the latest Brexit date, to propose a plan to the European Union, or the country will leave the regional bloc without a deal. European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker appeared to reject Prime Minister May's request for a second short extension of Brexit. Juncker says if Britain would approve the withdrawal agreement with a sustainable majority by April 12, the EU should be prepared to accept an extension until May 22. The Northport Batang pair ended their stint at the elimination round of the PBA Philippine Cup by beating Barangay Ginebra to get a spot at the quarterfinals. Robert Bolick scored the go-ahead basket with 52 seconds left, while Stanley Pringle added 2 clutch free throws to steal the win away from the Barangay. Sol Mercado lost the chance to force overtime when his three-pointer rimmed out. Bolick finished with 24 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1 steal for Northport, which took the 7th seed. Meanwhile, the Magnolia Hotshots denied the NLEX Road Warriors outright entry into the next round after stifling them in a first half before going on a 31-point third-quarter blast. Locked in the 6th seed and will face third-seeded Ginebra. Bonga Lanza gathered 10 points, 3 rebounds, 1 steal, and 1 block for NLEX. Bataan celebrated the 231st birth anniversary of Francisco Balagtas, one of the greatest Filipino poets of all time. A young writer from General Santos received the top prize this year in a contest honoring the Prince of Philippine Poets. Here is our report.
A 28-year-old poet was conferred the Makata ng Taon 2019 award by the Komisyon ng Wikang Filipino during the commemoration of the 231st birth anniversary of the Prince of Filipino Poets, Francisco Balagtas Baltazar in Bataan. MJ Tumamak of General Santos City bagged the award for his poem Mga Mungkahi ng Pagdanas ng Dahas sa Maitum that tackled poverty, injustice, tribal war, and killings in the countryside. Tumamak has already published 4 books and served as editor and translator of books for children.
Kaakibat ng pagkaiba-iba ng mga dila ang tunggalian ng kapangyarihan, paniniwala, lupain, kayamanan at iba pang aspekto na pinatitindi pa ngayong sa panahon natin parang nagiging karaniwan na lamang ang dahas. At ito ang ginagalugan ng aking koleksyon na bahagi ng isa pang mas malaking koleksyon. Natuklasan kong hindi lamang simple ang usapin ng mga wika. Sa proseso, unti-unti kong muling nakilala ang aking sarili at unti-unting naalala ang aking dila na bumaluktot. Hindi ibig sabihin nito na kailangan kong dimutin ang natutuhan kong dila, ang sinasabi nating standard na Filipino. Dahil pinipili ko ngayong gamitin ang natutuhan kong dila upang kausapin ang mga kapwa ko Filipino tungkol sa aming dana sa Katimugang Mindanao. Kasabay nito, pinipili ko ring magsulat at magsalita sa mga wikang sinasabing variasyon namin sa variant namin ng Filipino, sa variant namin ng Hiligaynon, sa variant namin ng Binisaya at iba pa.
Meanwhile, Father Arnel Vitor of the Transfiguration of Christ Parish in Antipolo City ranked second for his poem May Nakakatawa Ba Sakaling May Mamatay at iba pang tula sa panahong exciting ang pagkakahimlay. Richard Gapi, editor of News Online of Angono, was third place for his Dulok, Gunita ng Tubig. Meanwhile, singer and composer Ray Valera and playwright Rodi Vera were recipients of Dangal ni Balagtas Awards. Before the event, guests participated in a parade to the Hardin ni Balagtas in Wawa, Orion. Children from the Aita Magbukon tribe rendered song numbers in the Aita language and performed native dances. Komisyon ng Wikang Filipino Chair Virgilio Almario urged the audience to read La India Elegante y el Negrito Amante, a sonnet written by Baltazar. He noted how Aitas suffered from discrimination during the Spanish time, the subject of Balagtas' sonnet. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cabe.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Let's take another look at today's top stories.
The Chinese manned dredging ship that alarmed residents of Lobo, Batangas has left the town. Inflation rate in March eased further to 3.3%. A brother of a top BIFF terrorist leader dies in a clash with government troops in Maguindanao. And a poet from General Santos City wins the Makata ng Taon Award in honor of Francisco Balagtas.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And since the weather is getting increasingly hot, let us protect ourselves from heat stroke, especially for our senior brothers and sisters who are very prone to this. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I am William Theo. Good day.